Alright, y'all, what it do? It's your boy, A2. AKA Frank, man. Just got off work. Or whatnot. I've been watching a lot of entrepreneurial videos. I think, in all honesty, how business and stuff works depend on a variety of factors. I think, if we're going to be honest, you talk about inflation. Inflation does exist, but inflation is also, you have to think about the grand total of why inflation exists. Cash has really no value in a sense because people can keep on printing gold, not gold, but people can keep on printing pretty much anything. People can keep on printing basically paper. I've held like rare currencies and stuff like that. I don't know how my professor had this particular thing. He had stuff from World War II. He had like papers and stuff like that was currency, like German currency, authentic. Then he had like this this mortar shell in which he had and stuff like that. He had some other stuff. Or some type of shell casing. I don't think it was a mortar shell because that probably explosive, but he had some type of shell. And he had some type of gold, a little small gold coin or something like that too. We'll leave this. I don't think I lost my gold crown. It really don't matter because I'm in R1. You know, the interesting thing about like business too, or just you're talking about economy. Economy, it's about who runs the government and who controls the narrative. And it doesn't really matter political party, in my honest opinion, because both stuff doesn't make sense. What can I wear that's unique? Which one have I not worn in a while? I have that. That was a Caesar Award. I wore that in a while. I wear John Cena. I was going to tell myself that I was going to go and watch Furious 9. I might. I never even went to go see it. Thinking about it, but for the most part, I've seen every Furious, Fast and Furious, for the most part, or I watched part of it. I mean, Fast and Furious is an okay franchise, you know, it's successful. You know, another aspect that I watched, this guy's name is Ethan from London. He has some very great points. Very punctual, very concise with the information that he's putting out there. And it says he's a doctor, but that's not what he did. He integrated like technology, healthcare systems, billing, that type of stuff or whatnot. And then he put stuff together or like integrated basic technology, information technology regarding healthcare, having systems and stuff like that. But he did not like being a doctor or surgeon. So more than you find some interesting people on YouTube or whatnot. I think his content is very good and very to the point. He made some stuff that's particularly true. Like, let's say, for instance, people with, substance abuse. I think that's sad. Or something like that. Like, you can't give somebody with substance abuse any type of money, in a sense, or they're not producing a bill or something like that, because the reality is, you could have everything, you could hand people certain stuff, or give them some type of structure, or something like that. A person has to want to do or change whatever it is. The only way someone can get rid of bad influence is get out of that environment, and even still, then it has to be a self-responsibility type of thing, where you're pretty much going to make the adjustments, you're going to make the change, and then also, too, beating addiction with anything is pretty hard. With anything, really, if you think. So, for instance, let's say someone likes to, spend money on a crap game or something like that. There's a lot of crap games out here. This one is not crap in my opinion. I think this is very fun. I've been playing this since I've been a freshman in college, so I've been playing this for a while. I just spent money on here. I just spent money on this, so I'm not mad at it. I feel like I'm getting value, I'm getting enjoyment. Other games I can't just fire up and just play. You gotta watch a long video. Gotta go back. You gotta watch a long video. You pay $170 to $100 on it, and you try to make do with that. Honestly, I'm about to leave because the real reason why I'll leave a game like that, because I feel like I checked what I am ranked in the world, and I'm ranked like top 5,000 on Fortnite. And I mean, that's major. I've gotten a whole lot better at Fortnite. I mean, I'm not necessarily sweaty, or whatnot. I think I'm okay. I'm not necessarily the best, but I think I can hold my own in a competitive, thing. But even with that, I don't really think there's money to be made with playing Fortnite. Because once I started thinking about it, like, if someone signs to a team, to an esports team, they have control over their social media, they have control over the endorsements, the licensing. For a certain period of time, they sign a contract. They probably live in some house with some people. You don't necessarily know all the ins and outs of what, people had to deal with that, or how people, their lifestyle in a sense, like whether, they party, they drink, or whatever they do, whatever the case may be, or high stress, no. They have brand endorsement deals, but that money, to me, that money is very short. That money is very short because if you think about it, endorsement money can basically dry up. Like G Fuel. G Fuel was like a popular thing. Some people are still promoting that. A lot of people at some point were promoting Bang energy drink. I never had Bang energy drink, but I think a good energy drink. I'm not, sponsored by anything. Celsius has a good energy drink too. It's very good. It has a great balance, great mix. It's something I tried just by curiosity, and I think it was pretty good. So it is what it is. In the grand scheme of things, I think a lot of stuff has to do with business. Like everything, for the most part, is a business. Some stuff is a government-controlled monopoly, like who you get lights from, who does water, who does utilities. You can't change that gas or electric. I know people talk about real estate too. Real estate's not the only way to build wealth, but it's a good, solid thing. Everything has had a bubble. I mean, there's almost literally everything has had a bubble. The .com era. You have, let's see, the subprime mortgage crisis. People getting loans that balloon or whatnot. They couldn't afford it. And all of a sudden, like 2 or 3 years, something they were paying $1,200 for, it was basically doubled or tripled. And people didn't have the credit. But then also, it gave people a good opportunity because a lot of homes and stuff were in foreclosures. But then on another instance, there was a lot of stuff too that, in a sense, there's a lot of businesses and stuff that went under, like Quiznos. I went to Quiznos in Jamaica at the airport, and it was alright. It wasn't worth $40. But everything at the airport is expensive. And you can't necessarily bring food inside the airport or whatnot. You can't bring liquids. And I know why the reason is you can't bring liquids and stuff like that. I feel like we gotta know why liquids and stuff. People can try to mix stuff and people can try to do something crazy. It's a crazy world out here, man. It's a crazy world out here, man. And, for lack of better words, you just have to be careful and safe pretty much everywhere, pretty much. But that's the point. There's even nobody. This is one of the worst things. I'm not about to basically run all game looking for somebody and have good guns. I mean, that was an okay drop. I like where people are at. Like other people. Before, I had like 4 or 5 kills. I know a lot of people are doing HR consulting or management consulting. To me, any type of consulting is not bad, but not everybody has the expertise in consulting. Just because I have a business degree does not mean I'm a consultant. Some HR stuff, a whole team or a whole company, a majority of people have to be basically let go. I can give you a prime example of bad leadership. JCPenney. JCPenney had the best deals for textiles when I was growing up. And you look at their business model, everything. I don't think there's that many JCPenney's around. And part of that reason is because, people moved on And then once you start taking, feet up out of under people, you're not giving value. Your dollar can't stretch as much, textiles and certain stuff like that. To me, that stuff should be accessible. You should have good quality clothes for the amount of money that you pay for. And you really think about certain stuff like cars. Cars are their main focus is to take you from point A to point B. But for the fact, you think about cars are going to have issues down the road. Cars are engineering, basically. It's metal. They depreciate fast or whatnot. You have to basically pay for maintenance of it. It's pretty steep. You have to finance a car for the most part. The majority of people have to finance cars. It's an important part of a job is transportation from or back to work. In some cities or places or countries, you don't necessarily need an actual car or vehicle. It's a plus. You're still going to need gas. You're still going to need gas. You're still going to need a lot of other stuff that you need. Like service, oil change, checking your mileage out, making sure you have warranty on that. But then again, when you think about cars, some car companies are bad. They have recalls. That's for one. Wow, I died. You have companies like General Motors and other people who have car recalls or whatnot, and I don't think they're going to be able to go bankrupt because the majority of the fleet of cars for the president, this is not going to happen. All the other stuff is, I don't know how to put it. Like, I did not know, for instance, you cannot have a European model of a car that's on the, that's on the right-hand side. Like the actual driver's, basically the wheels are on the other side to basically where I live at, United States. It's on the other side. Jamaica and other places is the same way because it was, formerly by Britain and stuff like that. UK. Most countries and stuff like that, so on the left-hand side or whatnot. It's the opposite, right? They drive on the left-hand side of the road. It's a little bit different. Or the law pertaining that is you cannot have a vehicle of basic European model that has to be 25 years removed. So let's say someone wants a European model of a Lamborghini Diablo. It has to be from 1997. Why that's the law, I do not know. I do not know for the life of me how that's the law. How is a car being on the other side of the wheel? You still have to obey the doggone traffic laws, but it is what it is. But Lamborghini and certain stuff, they have their base of operations, California, Miami, certain stuff. Like, for instance, today, I did not know McLaren had a thing out basically not far where I live from, maybe like 2 to 3 hours. I did not know they had a dealership to sell Bugattis. I found that interesting. A Bugatti. And the Bugatti is like a 2019, and it's going for like $4 million. So I'm probably like, how does a car cost $4 million? It don't cost $4 million. But you gotta think about it. When your brand, your image, and what other automakers are doing, you gotta charge what the market allows. And then research and design. I'm not necessarily suggesting that I would buy no $4 million car if I have the money. It's not really worth that. Like, and again, cars are a depreciating asset. Like, if someone wanted to go and do an exotic rental car business, I don't think that that's necessarily profitable. You know why I'm going to tell you? You know, I keep it honest here. An exotic rental car thing, you gotta have a lot of insurance. You gotta have a lot of insurance, and then you think about it. Someone has if someone has an exotic, rental car business, and they have mods on their car, and that stuff is faulty. Now let's say like the exhaust is faulty. Someone did something to a Ferrari or a McLaren. Has someone gotten in an accident or something like that, or something was happening completely wrong, them people are gonna die. Because that car is overheating, there's no type of cooling or stuff like that. So me, I'm not really that fond of car mods or anything like that. Because that stuff, it is somebody who's not, a car mechanic or, knows the stuff. And then thinking about it, when you buy a car like a Ferrari, you already have like 5 years warranty on that. You're paying for service already comes as part of that. And we're speaking on exotic cars in a sense. Did have a lot of insurance for that. Like how many people you can't necessarily get normal insurance because when you assume you're a double insurance company, you automatically know you probably want to have people who are they're going to wreck cars. And me personally, I would never get involved in the exotic car or even the car rental business because again People are crazy with driving. Just imagine if someone died, someone had a model on a car, they got burned up or something like that. They got burnt to a crisp, which is not funny. I'm not laughing at that. Their body and stuff is charred. And then someone had an exotic car. Basically, they had mods stuff on cars, muffler, all this type of stuff. The stuff is not by Ferrari or Lamborghini. They went to someone who independent made mods. They had their exotic, car rental thing. They die from that, from having all these mods. The stuff, the thermal, the heat, exhaust, all that type of stuff is not working as it should. And, it's associated with your brand or your car rental. You may not ever be able to recover from that. And the fact that people died while using your service, which, may not 100% be the person's fault, but, there's negligence. You're going to get sued more than likely. You're going to get sued. To me, I kind of like exotic cars to a certain extent, but, $250,000 for a car, that's a little bit steep. There's not that many jobs and stuff that are offering $250,000. People be able to afford that. Or in a sense, me personally, how I think now, I think that's possible. Some people make $250,000 a month, or they have a company or corporation. I'm about to run out of ammo. But yeah, everything is like, business. It has to be a good concept. It has to be great execution. To me, there are a lot of business ideas. Might be great concept, poor execution, and even still then, there's people who had like restaurant businesses and stuff like that that had great food. Like there was this place I used to like going to, and they had the best steak with it'll be diced with pineapples, but it have like truffle butter and that truffles. The steak itself was probably like $25, but it was worth every dollar. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. That thing was good. But rent and stuff, and then a landscape of a place was changing, and someone doesn't want to renew like an actual lease or something like that. You're pretty much screwed for the most part. Or somebody decides to move on from the thing altogether. It's whatever. There's numerous places from my childhood I used to go to. Great business concepts. I guess people got tired of running the whole thing. Like there used to be this place I used to go to. They had the best burgers. Kids eat free. A burger would be like $5 and a drink. A good day or a good time. Sometimes I'll get ice cream. There's no ice cream parlor. You know, it was worth every dollar. It was worth every dollar. They made money. They made money. And everything was made through volume. When I think about restaurants and stuff now, the food, like I had Chipotle tonight. Chipotle is healthy. I ate Chipotle. But Chipotle, in my opinion, I should move. I know people would say that, you know, I think being financially free is honestly in itself hard. What you call it, it depends. So we have a business concept or something that's profitable, but again, the money was not well spent. You have to put money back in the business when it's profitable, but you also have to have your money spread out over, you know, the course of, you know, some different investments, or not necessarily different investments, but some assets. They're going to pay you some money. Damn. But yeah. You know, the interesting thing that I'm still thinking about is a lot of people, they hear these stuff, like these industries that supposedly people make a lot of money. I'm not saying people don't make a lot of money. I mean, to me, I think there's the opportunity to make money, but sometimes you gotta create your own stuff. You gotta create your own path or whatnot. Infrastructure or something like that, someone had their own construction company. You know, construction company, in all honesty, or anything like that, a lot of stuff is built on contracts. So, number one, not everybody's going to go with the place that is the most cheapest, or the place that is, like, you know, more than enough to, like, do it within a certain time frame. Some people basically go with the highest bidder who's able to actually do it at a far better pace, more efficient, and what best suits both parties, and that's behind the contract. And it comes at a steep price. Like, for instance, on a highway, someone might consider getting a big construction company or a conglomerate. They have multiple aspects. They have, concrete. They know everything about concrete. They're able to pour that. They have the construction workers. They are able to do certain stuff across the board. All of that. The people they got are skilled. But even with that, I don't think construction workers make a lot of money to a certain extent. And you think about it, that's no way to live, in my opinion. I'm not, trying to knock people. No, most of the people get hurt on construction. You can wear a hard hat, you can wear steel-toe boots, or whatnot. But when you think about that, a high risk. You have insurance. Let's say someone falls and, God forbid, busts their head open, fall 20 stories down, and they're wearing a hard hat or something like that. They're dead. They're 100% dead. You can have harnesses. You can have everything. Where someone gets shocked, they're trying to do a doggone power outlet or something like that, a doggone cable or power line. You're dead. Or you're getting cooked. Someone has to do it, but at the same time, I'd rather think with my mind than to be out here doing something. I'll never have anybody do that. But someone has to do it. Obviously, someone has to do that job, or else we wouldn't have no electricity. And that's the reality. Someone has to do it. I remember one of my professors said that, everything was better in the 80s, which I can detest. I don't think a lot of stuff was better in the 80s. Maybe music, sure. I'll agree with that sentiment. You have to be there to experience it, but if you're talking about economy, it's bad. I'm not talking necessarily 100% Reaganomics, thing like that, but we think about it. The world was not necessarily on the same page in the 80s. Let's start there. The world is not really on pace at all right now. For instance, on the same page like Russia and Ukraine. Crypto and stuff is not down because of Russia and Ukraine. I hope people realize that. Or, the economy is down because Russia and Ukraine. That's not happening because of that. No, Russia, on the other hand, when a bank or certain stuff decides, a place is a threat or whatnot, they want to shut everything down. And because, in a sense, I have some expertise in jewelry and stuff like that. Russia is one of the biggest markets for art and jewelry, believe it or not. And, there's a lot of, let's say, socialites and, I would say people who are very influential. They're not necessarily even with the thing. So imagine someone in Russia, they don't necessarily agree with Putin or whatnot, And my stance on Putin's a bully. In a sense. But I digress. Power, in my opinion, my idea of thought of power is the ability not to show it, is be able to control it. To keep, I guess, mind on over matters to me, in my opinion. Land, nationalism and stuff like that is absolutely crazy, in my opinion. I think wars and stuff it's not necessarily about, how do I put it this way? It's not necessarily about money. I think it's about power and control. I remember someone said that Vladimir Putin is like one of the richest people on the planet. He has a mega-sized yacht or whatnot. They were talking about, like today, they had a Russian oligarch. His boat basically it basically tumbled over on the Italian coast today. They had to rescue 9 people on board. The person's a billionaire. You know, I think just because someone's a billionaire, certain stuff like that, money in a sense has to work proactively. And once someone has enough money, you don't necessarily have to do anything to a certain extent. But I think you have to be dominant in all form of business in order to be a billionaire. So when I hear, like, you know, certain stuff and they're trying to be painted, the United States is the most richest place in, like, the whole world, which is, you know, I think that's subjective, because you look at everything else. Liechtenstein is like their GDP. They're actually the most wealthiest place. The average person, to a certain extent, $183,000. That's their GDP per capita. So if you don't know what GDP per capita is, basically all the service and goods a country produces, and the average person, what they're basically putting out was that. So Liechtenstein, hopefully I'm saying correctly, they don't really have anything, but they give a lot of tax benefits to places, and some companies and stuff are multinational, and it's beneficial for both parties. Multinational conglomerates are basically in Liechtenstein. I think another place too, my honest opinion, that's like kind of up there. They have to be up there. Not necessarily any of the oil-rich Arab nations. Like, I mean, they're up there obviously. Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, and stuff like that. They're up there as well. Kuwait has the most valuable dollar, like $3 per what you call it. You search that up. They're the most valuable dollar. But in my honest opinion, I don't think necessarily that money makes sense. You need money to live. I understand that guy was lasering me. I'm glad he's getting shot. To bet what I'm saying, money in a sense is determined by a few factors. If a place has resources, and resources can be natural resources, basically output. I don't know if there's any places that are like agronomy rich, like Puerto Rico. They have that's the U.S. It's part of the U.S. It's a U.S. territory. They have pineapples. They have various other stuff. That's a fact. Tourism is a part of Puerto Rico. They have tax benefits to people. That guy did to me. Wow. That tax benefits Hawaii. That they have, they're very close to a lot of places, so it's actually beneficial. Another thing that I realized today is how Sony is a Japanese company, but also they're in California. Like they have stuff in Los Angeles, Santa Monica. I've been to Santa Monica. Santa Monica's cool. But the headquarters and stuff is like in like California. The American operations, but also it's strategic. Tokyo, from LA to Tokyo, it's like 15 hours. That's a fact. Because it's on the Pacific. So if you think about that, that's probably like a good day. A little bit less than a day, because you basically are in the air. And then again, with time zone difference, it's a whole lot different. So me, I like PlayStation. I read a report how they're raising the price in Japan by like $50. I don't think inflation really exists, because you know why? It's bad economic principles by politics across the board from political parties. You printed money. You printed money. Some people don't know the application of finance and economic theories, in my opinion, are theories in itself, but also too, you have to make sure that banks or people, or more importantly, everybody's playing their part in being better with finances. That goes to me too. I don't have credit card debt. I don't have student loan debt. My credit and stuff is really good in the sense I pay my bills. I have a leg up. Now I'm in a fortunate position. But at the same time, and that can't be said about everybody. I'm not about to say pick your stuff up by your own bootstrap. I'm not one of those people. A lot of stuff is very hard. Life in itself is very hard. To me, I have a plan and stuff like what I like to do with my life, and I know I can get to it. And I know I'll probably do a great job of doing that. Also providing service and value to others as well at the same time. Money can be made with volume. Like to me, three things I would never do is create a t-shirt brand. Like my brand being a t-shirt. Anybody can go and create a t-shirt. And at the end of the day too, you can't go out there and put out money per se. You can't do that. If I had a sniper, I'd snipe that dude. What? How? 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 That's what I'm talking about. Me, I feel like that was fake. I bless that guy. That guy should have been dead. That guy should have been dead. But I blame myself for that one. Every game I'm not going to win, and that's fine. And you know the interesting thing about certain stuff, I said about money and certain stuff like that. Like someone has, let's say, $450 million that's their net worth. To me, I don't think they necessarily need a financial advisor or too many of those. Because at a certain point, you gotta understand compound interest or whatnot. Their money is basically going to keep on going as long as they're not, you know, spending so much money. Even simple interest, that we make a lot of money each day. There was this guy that said, would you rather take a penny that doubles and that amount doubles every day for the rest of your life versus, you know, taking a set amount of cash? Me, I would take the penny that compounds every day for the rest of your life, because you think about that. That's probably more money than you ever probably need in your lifetime. But also, too, with that would never happen. That would never happen. And, you know, the person I watch the most now I binge watch his videos, I would probably love to have a dialogue or something like that. I mean, he basically has videos and stuff like that all on YouTube. Ethan from London. I think his stuff is very insightful on, you know, just the times of, like, you know, business. He reviews cars and stuff like that. He goes to, like, France, Netherlands, Belgium, stuff like that. To me, having experience of going to different places, obviously, no matter the amount of money, to a certain extent, to me, that's a well thing to do, to see the world and be able to see the world, in my opinion. Europe, surprisingly, to a certain extent, is very cheap. It depends. Because everything in Europe, if someone's from Europe, everything's like literally right there to a certain extent. Like London or the UK, they give people holiday. So they give people paid vacation, and people are generally, in a sense, more happy. They get incentivized. United States, we know that's just not going to happen. There's not too many places that I honestly can say that give people paid time off. There's not that many jobs and stuff that give people paid time off. This is a fact. One of the reasons why that is particular is just our structure, our society structure, our government structure. Well, also that's going to come back and bite us in the ass, in a sense. The most interesting component about, I guess, structure, in terms of, like, we're talking about a democracy or socialism. At least some form of socialism is good, but at the same time, you know, you have to think about it. There's no government structure that's going to be perfect for the lives of everybody. In any type of government, there's always going to be somebody who loses, and there's going to be somebody who wins, and you know, for that has to be determined. That is to be determined. Like, there can't be but a handful of people. Everybody can't make $1 million. With the internet, everybody can't make $1 million, and then even still, then if you're spending and stuff is so high, or you're not able to subsidize that through whatever it is, like an investment vehicles, revenue streams, different stuff. Like I said, compound interest. Someone has $450 million, or they're worth $450 million. They don't really need a financial advisor, but they need to be careful about their money and who they have managing, in a sense, over the course. Whoever did that, however they got to it, you have to be careful. Like LeBron is a billionaire. I have no problem, no gripes with LeBron or anything like that. The only gripe that I have with LeBron in the sense that the team that he constructs or the people he have, they're not that very good for LeBron. LeBron is an exceptional player, but I'm not, like they got Patrick Beverly, Russell Westbrook, all those people, Taylor Horton Tucker, he got traded as a result. I keep up with my Lakers news to a certain extent. I'm not a Lakers fan. I like LeBron, but I'm not the hugest like LeBron fan. I'm a fan of him off the court because player-wise, he plays with people who are garbage. That's just the facts. You can't take not necessarily garbage. They're role players. If you're good, you're going out there and scoring 30. LeBron's production hasn't really gone down at all. But the only thing is, he has to keep on doing more and more. And that's what I don't like. If you're putting out that every night, 30, 29, or 28 points a game, and, your team isn't even able to put up a good fight, and you're on the court, Anthony Davis is injured, all this type of stuff, it's looking real bad. And imagine you're a fan. You're going and paying to be at the Crypto.com arena. You're basically a block away from Skid Row, basically downtown Los Angeles. That stuff is expensive. LA is very expensive. But I digress. I don't think Hollywood is the reason why certain stuff is the way it is. I just don't. To me, certain stuff has to exist for certain stuff to for certain stuff to be the way it is. Like, for instance, a developing nation does not have the infrastructure that a first world has. Like, for instance, there's a report that says that, I'm not denying that some people in countries, there's more people who live less than $2 a day than there is people who are actually out here, making money. And, even still, even if someone's working a minimum wage job here in the United States or somewhere where they're at, you're still making more money than some people. But also, some of that stuff is rooted in corruption, if you think about it. Again, like I said, money has no apparent value. Just imagine if someone's like a Russian billionaire or something like that, or an oligarch or something like that. And because they're Russian or whatnot, their nationality, they don't necessarily don't agree with Putin, but they just happen to be Russian. All their stuff was froze. To me, that's bad. You know, I'm not on the side of Russia or anything like that. I just think that's bad. You have something and it'll be taken away overnight. That's absolutely crazy. Because something that someone else did. That doesn't make sense. And you know, the other thing I don't like how people they try to debate is how people try to compare the standard of living from first world to third world countries. To me, that's just not one of those things people can do. Because both first world countries and third world countries, what they're going to have to realize is that overpopulation and certain stuff is obviously a serious problem right now. People are living on top of another. You know, the conditions in which people live are getting worse, and in some instances they're getting better to a certain extent. But at the end of the day, a first world country will not have the problem of a third world country, and vice versa. Like a developing nation, like let's say there's some people in a remote village or some place that necessarily doesn't exist, they recognize, but it's not officially a part of a country. Let's say there's some place in like Southeast Asia where there's a strong Muslim population or whatnot. It's in a mountainous region or something like. Let's say, for instance, Azerbaijan. That's an Asian country. Strongly Muslim. I don't have a problem with Muslim people or anything like that. Besides the point. Their whole thing is basically their whole foundation and thing is based off of Russia, how that is. But they're still a developing nation. They don't really have that much in a sense. You really don't hear anything about Azerbaijan. You just don't. There were a lot of conflicts, that's what I do know. Most places in Eastern Europe or Asia or certain stuff like that, even Russia in itself, they've had a whole lot of conflicts, and that doesn't even have to include, you know, what's going on right now. You have Chechnya and Russia. You have Dagestan and Russia, you know. Those people are ethnic Russian, but they're Muslim. They've been there for a while. They have conflicts. Most places in Eastern Europe, I guarantee you, have been in a conflict. That's just a fact. Czech Republic, Slovakia, all those places, they've been in conflicts. And for what? I don't know. Maybe some of the reason I said power, land, nationalism. The world isn't perfect. That's the point. Someone always has to lose in a sense. That's just the way the world works in a sense. But I mean, I'm not saying that's necessarily right. Like, the point that I basically got from a person's video that I watched, his name is Ethan from London. Like, if you want to watch the video and get some type of, you know, I guess punctual type of thing, there's some stuff I can disagree on, but for the most part, it is very fact-based. You know, sometimes you have to leave the opinion out of it or whatnot. Some stuff is a reality. Like, for instance, we can't have a lot of engineers out here because they're going to surplus. Not all engineers and stuff are bad. That's, you know, the job growth for it is good and whatnot. But, again, people are going to get laid off. That's just a fact. That's not necessarily right or wrong. But as society output, you know, some stuff, you know, it's probably better to work for yourself or, you know, have some other stuff. But certain stuff isn't perfect. This isn't the perfect world. This isn't the perfect ideal thing is gonna have to work. I try to make something work. Some people have brands, some people have stuff easier than others, but also the thing that resonated with me in a sense what Ethan from London said, you can buy people's time but you can't buy their brain. I think that's true. You can work for people. You know, I come with business ideas all the time. Now I think about value. You know, value has to be created pretty much for our business to be successful. But also, then again, you got to think about scalability. If a company makes, you know, let's say a small company to a certain extent has 10 employees and it makes, let's say, $6 million. You know, the principal founder pays himself, you know, I would say 500,000. He takes care of his employees. You gotta think about taxes. Out of taxes, you're probably seeing about like 340 if you have a good accountant, 340 or something like that. You take care of a few things, assuming that you know, in a sense, 340,000. That's pretty good. Most people will never be able to make that. Most jobs are not going to pay people $340,000. Let's be honest. And with being honest, I know someone said, you know, computers are going to take over the world. Computers are not going to take over the world, in my opinion. We're going to have to learn how to work with computers, and then basically, you're going to have to learn how to do stuff by hand. Because when a computer system's down, a lot of stuff goes down as well. Productivity, everything. And, you know, if you're not good with math or good with numbers or knowing facts, how to do something basically blind, a computer's not going to help. You're going to have to know something like the back of your hand, pretty much. And that's just the reality. You're just going to have to know stuff like the back of your hand. What? That guy... That guy had 13 health, man. Like if someone asks me what my dream car is, I'd probably say a Ferrari. You can customize the Ferrari. I don't know how much that is, but I'm assuming it's like 400,000. I'm assuming it's like 400,000. But you gotta take care of business, like you gotta take care of business across the board. Another instance of, you know, I guess life in general. In business, well, not necessarily business, like homeless people. I don't know their story. I see a whole lot of homeless people or supposed homeless people. I don't know what they got going on. They probably got a conjunction of certain stuff, substance abuse. They're not right mentally. That's not funny either, or whatnot. I don't know what happened, what they had going on, but one thing I can say is doing drugs or abusing alcohol or certain stuff like that is going to mess people up even more. Like, there'll be people, you know, there's people all around the United States or the world who, lack of better words, First thing in the morning, they're drunk. First thing in the morning, they're drunk. Like, 4:30, 5:36, they're already drunk. They have a beer in their hand. They're on the corner. And the thing is, I still feel like even if there was some type of reform or certain stuff like that, like if someone gave someone the blueprint to get their life on track, let's say someone gets a fresh start and mysteriously someone or to get a program, someone believes and gives them a chance, something like that, and they have a history of abuse, like substance abuse or whatever, give someone $15,000, give them an apartment. I think that $15,000 is going to be blown. Because, again, if you have an inflow of cash like that, you don't have good habits or whatnot, and you're not have that reinforced, mental fortitude, you're not going to be able to beat that, substance abuse. You're not going to be able to do that. And I don't laugh about people having substance abuse issues, or it's not funny. I'm not laughing at that. It's a very complex issue. Hey, $15,000 is a lot of money, and especially if someone doesn't have or not used to an inflow of money, like $15,000 if someone's rent. But yeah, if someone's not used to $15,000 or something like that, they have that money. Got one better for that guy. You're up out of here. That type of stuff is annoying. I don't know what I do with that. You know, the interesting thing I would say about business and life, there's certain stuff that just scales to, I guess, people's level of economics. Everybody has to use the same or general or whatnot services. Like, let me explain. Everybody has to have a cell phone, telecommunications. That's just a fact. Everybody has access to healthcare. Well, the more money you have, the better access to the type of doctor that you have, which, is a good and a bad thing. If someone said universal healthcare or, free healthcare, like for instance the model of Canada, that could be a good and a bad thing. Because if someone's on dialysis or someone needs a kidney transplant, you know what that means? They don't have to be on that list a little bit longer. Because there's not that many people who are able to be specialists or whatnot. And then you think about a kidney, where someone's body can reject a kidney. If you don't have a kidney, you're not able to basically filter out toxins and you die. High blood pressure and just a variety of things, that can mess up your kidneys. And you don't do dialysis, you die. That's the harsh reality of, I guess, life or just certain stuff. So, for me, I think about certain stuff from not necessarily 100% a kind of thing. I think about stuff from a philosophical standpoint, a moral standpoint, and an ethical standpoint. And someone's talking about minimum wage. Minimum wage is bad in a sense. I'm not going to deny that minimum wage is bad, but money is money in a sense. You do what in a sense, what's legal, you gotta do what you have to do to survive. Like, someone has to work 3 jobs. I have more respect, hats off to them. But, with anything, a lot of stuff, we're in a gig economy. When the gig's up, when the jig's up, the gig's up. Let's be honest. Everything's a gig, man. Now, let's say someone works for a biopharmaceutical company or something like that, or a sales company. Everything is sales. But again, everything sells. Everything regarding, there's a lot of stuff sells. Everybody buys something every day because we need it to sustain life or just basically our day-to-day. People need food, people need water every day. That's just a fact. The funniest thing that I heard from the person I watched, Ethan from London, he said he doesn't believe you should not treat yourself to a nice meal because you don't deserve it. I agree to disagree. Because at the end of the day, like, if you worked hard, I feel like you should be able to go and, like, for instance, if you want a nice steak, there's something about a steak, in my opinion, that's going to be good. It's full of protein, it's juicy, it's tender, There's a reason why TGI Fridays and Ruth Chris are not on the same level. It's not the same quality of meat. It's not the same cut. It's not the same quality. And quite frankly, Ruth Chris is going to give you the best of the best. TGI Fridays, they might not even clean the grill. That can be said about a lot of places. There's almost no comparison. But again, you got to think about it. It's economics. It's economics are coming back to. Like a steak from TGI Fridays might cost $17, while 3 course at TGI, not double TGI, but Ruth Chris might be $40 per person to a certain extent. And to me, Ruth Chris is a much better value. You get a good service, the steaks. But again, everything's a business, man. You pick and choose who you do business with. You know, interesting thing, someone probably like, why would you spend so much money on food when all you're going to do is poop it out? That's kind of, I mean, I don't know how to respond to that. I mean, that's kind of just idiotic in my opinion. That is true, you have to defecate food. I mean, that's just a factor of living. Every organism pretty much does that. I think I can agree with what you call it to a certain extent. With you know, like I said, some of the points said rich people did not get the way they were by doing certain stuff. Obviously, they don't have to try as hard anymore. Like in terms of certain stuff. Like I know some people who have business ideas that I would support. I'm being dead serious. I would support. Like I know somebody, one of my classmates, that's like a teeth whitening thing. She does the packaging. She already has that type of stuff. Packaging everything. The only thing I would say, and it's not negative or anything like that. You know, if you want to get to the next level, you have to know about packaging and distribution, and then also not necessarily networking, but that is a part of it. Networking and then getting that stuff on the shelves to a certain extent. You don't have to be a dentist or certain stuff, do teeth whitening and stuff like that. Smiling teeth. I think that's important. Like someone asked about jewelry or whatnot, I would, diamond grills or grills in general, I won't suggest grills. That's just terrible. I think people should take care of their teeth. Dental hygiene, to me, hygiene in general is important. It just is. And hygiene is more than, just, your body. Hygiene is just, it's more to it than that. But also, too, another, thing that I kind of don't like, too, we've gotten to a point where people are talking about people's hair. Someone's hair has nothing to do, or their name has nothing to do with the output of a job or a company. You know, the most interesting component about certain stuff that I find just the hypocrisy, and it's just that some people have conduct that's detrimental all throughout, workplace or companies, and no one's talking about that. No one's talking about that. Like, there's managers, there's people who literally do nothing. Their whole job is basically to, in a sense, throw off and project their sense of power, title, and authority over other people. I don't necessarily agree with that model. People don't need to be used and abused. That's the thing. People do not need to be used and abused. Their work needs to feel valued, but also too, there needs to be, more, in a sense, of mental health awareness. For individuals, just in general. Because the jobs and stuff can burn people out. Like, people are on their, last leg, not necessarily suicide, stuff like that, where they might not feel like working for, the next foreseeable, I don't know, whatever is possible, really, the next 3 to 6 months. A lot of people resign from their companies or their respective titles at, jobs. I don't feel sorry about that, I'll tell you that. I don't. Like, if someone resigned from a company because they were burned out and tired, like the Great Resignation, or Kevin O'Leary talking about the Great Quitting, or silent quitting people are doing. A job, in a sense, some people have no talent. That's just a fact. The talent is micromanaging people or bossing people around to a certain extent. That type of stuff doesn't really go checked. And when it goes unchecked, to a certain extent, they don't the wrong person, they might get their teeth knocked out of their mouth. And that's just facts. I mean, I'm not a violent person. I have emotional intelligence, It's not worth it. I have a cool, calm, and collected demeanor. And I have good composure, so, at the end of the day, I just laugh, in a sense, and let's keep it moving. Certain stuff doesn't faze me as much as it used to anymore. I won't tell you all that now. But yeah, I think my final point, in capitalism and socialism, someone always has to lose. There's no perfect democracy. There's no perfect structure. Because if you think about it, Karl Marx is the father of communism, the Communist Manifesto, and stuff. But we look through pretty much any communist stuff, Vladimir Lenin and stuff like that, and all the stuff. All those people got overthrown. He overthrew people, the people overthrew him, and certain stuff in some aspects is better or worse, but it's also still a dictatorship. There's no checks and balances. There's no perfect place in the world, if we're being completely honest. That it just doesn't exist. Like, I was watching a thing from Nas Daily. He said that, a place has no military, they have no conflict. I mean, no military is cool. They have no conflict. That's good and that's kind of bad because, you know, it just depends. The place he was talking about is Grenada. It's a place in the Caribbean. They speak English. It's near South America. It's near Trinidad and it's very tropical. But yeah, you said there's no military, there's no conflict. You know, Grenada's only had a one thing, and it happened in 1983. I'm very keen on my dates and up to date with my world history. There was this guy named Maurice Bishop. He was a leader, and he was basically assassinated. The United States basically took him out in 1983. This is around basically Soviet Union. Maurice Bishop was a communist. They took him out for whatever reason. You know, it was an invasion or whatnot. Grenada basically, they got invaded. That's just all I can say. They got invaded. And, you know, someone died. You know, suppose it was democracy or whatnot. You know, you got to take, history is not always clean. That's what I'm trying to say. History and stuff is not always clean. Someone has to win and someone has to lose. That's just the way life is. I don't even think that 100% that I don't even know all the ins and outs, but I do know that's a fact. Maurice Bishop was the leader of Grenada in like 1983, and they sent Marines over there to Grenada. They killed Maurice Bishop or whatever, and you know that's the story. That's the only time pretty much Grenada had conflict in basically in probably the last 40 something years. That's the last time they've had a conflict. That's just a fact. History is not clean. It will never be. You can't erase it. You can't try to move the facts. The facts are the facts. And you can't necessarily have an opinion of media. You have to deal with the actual facts. lot of people don't know that, I keep I keep a great balance of world history. Like, what? I'll put one more. I'm going for you guys. Yeah. To me, certain stuff doesn't make sense. And again, for lack of better words, I think, in all honesty, people should have a balanced perspective and not listen to necessarily all media. And to me, media and certain stuff like that, it depends. You look at the facts. You have to look at everything. But to me, what is the greatest problem of today? To me, it is war. To me, that's just kind of one of those things. I don't just think war is about ego. I just think this conflict is power, control. There's definitely some money and stuff involved. The people who win, in a sense, there's definitely money. And fines and sanctions or whatnot. But yeah. The biggest thing I think too is, a police cannot be the world police. It's not your problem. To me, I'm not going to discuss necessarily conflicts and stuff like that to a certain degree, but certain stuff is just not your problem. This isn't like 1942 or 1939 where you don't control something You know, everybody has nuclear codes and stuff like that. That stuff is bad. So, if anything, boots on the ground, that's still someone's child or certain stuff like that. So, you have to think, man. Both countries and war and stuff like that, both countries believe in people standing behind those uniforms, believe they're fighting in the name of a cause and other people are bad and they will stop at nothing. They'll kill people. They'll do stuff. Uh, you know, it is what it is. I know after this I'm probably going to watch some more videos on, you know, some things regarding to my like own business. I'll try to figure out some own ideas. I already have a good idea. I know it's going to work. People getting value for their money. That's for sure. And my brand and everything, it's legit. You know, and most things, I don't know. A lot of stuff in business and otherwise, a lot of stuff is deception. And that's the one that I would like to say. A lot of stuff is deception. Um, like if someone says that Facebook is a good platform, I mean, Facebook has its place, but I mean, I don't really check on Facebook at all like that. I don't use social media as much as I do anymore because I'm actually working, I'm planning stuff. I mean, social media serves its purpose, like, you know, as some people have. Me, I don't really try to keep up with tabs on certain people. You know, some people you gotta keep out of bay. And I don't have necessarily any gripes with, 100%. There's some people, everybody's not for me. And that's one thing I just had to realize. Everybody's not for me. Everybody's not going to see your vision or certain stuff like that. And, it is what it is. you don't match well with the person, you know, it is what it is. You can't force anything. You can't. This is across the board. Or, like, let's say, for instance, like, let's just say, for instance, if we're talking about just the general scope of things and how certain stuff is going on, like in the world. Like, you have, let's say, like politics, for instance. You have Republican and you have Democrat. I'm not necessarily 100% I mean, I vote to my values and certain stuff. I think I'm more of a independent. Look at the issues, look at the stuff that's going on, like a neutral playing ground. Because a lot of people come with ideas, but nothing's really getting done. Like, there could be politicians on both parties who have like 20 years of holding a public office, but if you look at their track record and what they absolutely did absolutely nothing. With fat in their pockets. You know, the most interesting component, you know, I don't believe in sugarcoating anything. This fool out here dancing. I'm taking some phone out. Oh, you got a sniper. Okay, thank you for that. But yeah, again, like me, I'm not really that much a fan of politics at all. Really, to be completely honest, it's a bunch of bull. Like, for instance, teachers. Teachers play an important part of like, you know, form a society or try to teach concepts. You know, you get a little bit of stuff. You get a little bit of economics. You get a little bit of certain stuff or base of how stuff works in the world or whatnot. But you don't necessarily get issues. Like, to me, and politics and how certain stuff goes, it's hypocrisy on both sides. And the same can be said about a lot of stuff, it's hypocrisy on both sides. People want the cake and eat it too, across the board. It doesn't matter exactly what that is. Everybody in some shape or form is a hypocrite. That's just a fact. I mean, we're human, it's human nature. But the thing about politics was more disturbing is, you know, how can I put it this way? Of how certain stuff is going. Like, people are trying to regulate women's bodies, however people may feel about that. Pro-life, pro-choice. And to me, where I stand is, I'm not a woman. That's none of my business and none of my concern. At all. A woman should have reasonable stuff, like if she's about to die or some stuff like that. Or she has the choice. I mean, she should have the choice, because at the end of the day, we give too many people the power and the ability to try to think for people or try to say stuff, but their life, if you look at the course of their life and their stuff, it's raggedy. That's the point. Their life is raggedy. And let me explain. There will be politicians right now, regardless across, you know, the political parties and affiliations, who really are frauds, they're liars, they're deceivers. And the thing they're doing, they're lining their pockets and they're lying. That's the name of politics. Lying. Lying and deceit, if we're being completely honest. It doesn't change the outcome of certain stuff. You hope that certain stuff will be a whole lot better for people. That's not necessarily always the case. You know, I tell it how it is. Like, We have people who basically use the platform of basically a rhetoric in a sense across the board, both things, both political parties. None of the stuff they say adds up. None of the stuff they say adds up. Like, someone could file bankruptcy. And, they abuse their platform because people were idiotic enough to listen to some of these people. And, they're getting paid. They're getting paid $100,000 or more. That's absolutely idiotic, in my opinion. That's idiotic. When you have people making comments and stuff like that, and they abuse a public office. And I'm not talking about 45. That it is what it is. I think politics, in a sense, is just a sham. In my honest opinion, in my eyes, certain stuff's not going to change. It's just not. Because that's not the way the world works. You're going to always have good forces, bad forces, evil forces. That's just the way the world is. And there's nothing you really can do about it. Pretty much. Hope the sun balances out, but it is what it is. But, I think that city elections, all elections and stuff matter. Like the local municipalities, the mayors and stuff, that stuff matters. But you got to listen to the platform and look at people, do a lot of research on people. That's what you have to do. Do a lot of research on people, make sure stuff adds up. Because, again, end of the day, you can put an idiot in a place and they can mess up a lot of stuff. To me, there's a lot of stuff that just doesn't make any sense across the board. And I'm willing to say it's stuff that's, it's a harsh truth, but at the same time, I try to come with the facts and back up my claims. And for the majority of the facts that I provide, you got to look at it. You got to research. You have to be willing to actually do the due diligence, as with anything. But you have to get a balanced perspective. A lot of the news doesn't get the balanced perspective. You're just getting part of it. Like, we know we will never see Fox News and CNN ever do a joint collaboration because, number one, they're two different companies. Then, two, they have two different sponsors. On one end, you have Rupert Murdoch. He's like a billionaire. He controls certain stuff. I don't like Fox News. It's just, it's crazy as it is and whatnot. It's just crazy. And other than media, certain stuff, if it bleeds, it leads. That's just how media is, but that's just the fact. The interesting thing is too. I think sometimes bankruptcy is obviously bad. Bankruptcy is not good at all. If a person or company files bankruptcy, that means they'll have some struggles. But it's more than financial. It's also character. If we really think about it. Like for instance, the whole Celsius thing. The doggone person, Alex, whatever his name, I think he's Russian. I don't really have a problem with Russian people or anything like that. That's not part of the thing, but one person is not a representative of a group, religion, or anything like that. There's bad people out there all around, and not genuine people across the board. But that's not the point. Some people's leadership and character is already dodgy. And that's the point I'm trying to say. Some people's leadership and character is dodgy already. And by having a position such as, a CEO or holding some type of public office only amplifies their reach, and they're abusing just a little sliver of whatever they have. And some people not doing their due diligence or calling some of these people out. And as a result, some of these people getting paid. There's no problem with some of these people getting paid to a certain extent, but who are the sponsors? Who's enabling this? That's the one question you have to ask. Who's enabling? Who are the sponsors of this stuff? Because it's bigger than what you think it is, if we're being completely honest. And that's completely being transparent. What the fuck? Hope you guys enjoy the stream, man. We out.